And it's just a happy song. It was one of those songs that just make you immediately. It just makes you smile, doesn't it? Maybe, unless you're going through terrible trauma. I mean, if you've just been hit by a train and you're crumpled up, you lost your feet and you're screaming, you're losing a lot of... Probably wouldn't do the trick. Quickly, wait, listen, morphine. Morphine is better in that. But, given an average day, right, that song will make you feel a little bit happier. As I say, extreme trauma, it won't cut the mustard. Good. How are you? Where are you watching this from? Let me know. I don't know why. I just like the idea that people are watching this absolute bollocks all over the world. In some countries, they don't even know what the word bollocks is. I should explain really. It's a colloquialism, double meaning. It means absolute nonsense. That's why I call this absolute nonsense. Just rubbish. So it's rubbish. Also slang for, so two birds with one stone, meaning rubbish, and bollocks meaning. So I haven't done this for a while. Was it? I know what you're thinking, Rick. You've had a haircut. Yeah, I have. Right. First, start off. Thank you to Mel Toffee and Fudge and the Bollocks Gang. I did tweet that, but they've sent me a little afterlife bench and a lovely card, and they even sent me Auntie to sit on the bench with me. And look at this bit for a lovely bit of detail. Oh, oh. Never mind Barbie. Look at that. That's what they'll all be wanting this Christmas. Brilliant. Right, questions. Casper and Yuri. What is your best memory of summer as a child? And how did you keep cool? Swimming, sitting in like paddling pools when I was really little, or swimming. A hose, sitting under a hose, sitting in the garden. I mean, not when I was at school. Obviously, you couldn't do those sort of things. I didn't really care. I think when you're a kid, you just run round until you collapse, don't you? I still do that. I still sort of. I forget to drink water. I'm an idiot. I remember when we were allowed to go on the grass, when I was little in school, when suddenly it was hot enough to go on the grass. I really remember that. That was great. Summer. As I got older, I like the smell of... I mean, I love nature, but where I grew up, the smell of tarmac was good because it meant it was hot. Do you know what I mean? Like you could smell the heat in this council estate. You could smell the heat. I remember I used to play tennis, and I could smell the green. My mum used to give me green flash, Dunlop green flash, and they were made of rubber. And sometimes it was so hot that I could smell the rubber where it was warming up on my shoes. So I didn't like trying to get to sleep at night. That was never good. Obviously no air conditioning. No, I mean growing up, we didn't have central heating or air conditioning. So you're just at the mercy of the weather, really. But I don't remember it being a big problem. Now it would be. Now I'm furious because if something's 1 degree out, I'm furious. I had nothing growing up, and now it's like It's like I was born into royalty with what I demand. That's the thing, isn't it? You come from nothing and you start, God, I want it like this. No, I've had it hard. I don't have money for 40 years. I want this room at 18 degrees at all times. Bonfires. I remember Mum doing a bonfire on a Sunday. I like Sundays because when I was little, the whole family came over because my oldest brother and sisters had moved out by the time I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9. So they'd come over. Sunday was great. I remember getting up Sunday and the bath was like full of water and my mum had made jellies and cakes to keep them cool for everyone coming over having trifle. Yeah, I think Sundays were my favourite day in the summer when I was little. Family, trifles. I mean, she made enough to last the whole week, so it wasn't like it was special on a Sunday, because there was, when you make 13 cakes and trifles, it tends to last a week. But she had nowhere to put them. Yeah, and then a bonfire, about sort of 6 or 7 o'clock when they all left. Pax the cat. In Supernature, you talk about the platypus producing milk and eggs. What 2 seemingly contradictory traits from other animals would you like to pick for yourself and why? Oh, well, obviously my superpower is always be flight. I can't believe I just watch seagulls and hawks. I think, oh, amazing! It's just to fly around, particularly in traffic when I want to get. I wish I could fly. What should I fucking just take off? I think we've talked about this, but it's got to be proper flight. I don't want to just bumble around like a daddy long legs. Do you know what I mean? It's no good just sort of like... Sometimes I have dreams where I can nearly fly, but I'm only like 6 foot off the ground, so people can still come and punch you in the face. That's the sort of dreams I have. Oh, God. So flight, but then a bird's sort of small and vulnerable, so maybe I'd like a bit wet, like maybe I could be like a flying walrus somehow. You didn't say I had to work, so I want arms, wouldn't I? I want arms, like the animal I invented when I was 12 or 13. I've told you about that, haven't I? Yeah, loads of times. Body of a rhino, arms of a gorilla, big tail of a scorpion, lion's head, and I thought I'd make it fast, so I gave it legs of a cheetah. Would have collapsed immediately. But this doesn't have to work. So, somewhat big and meaty, a rhino with wings. So I just go, take off and then just smash in, just come down, smash into. Just... Oh God, there might be something wrong with me. I've been practicing improv comedy on camera at home, and I end up worrying that I might offend someone. How do I stop this feeling? Because I really want to get over this hang-up. You shouldn't worry about it because you can't help it. You will offend someone. There's someone in the world, there's nothing you can say that someone somewhere in the world will find offensive. Often it's faux offence, they just want to be heard. You can't worry about them. If you don't go out of your way to offend someone, it's ridiculous. You'll end up... It's impossible. It's impossible to do anything funny where someone somewhere goes, oh, I don't... Because everyone's different. There's 100 things you can talk about, and everyone's fine with 99 of them, and they get offended by one. You can't second guess them. So you just got to get over that. If someone wants to be offended, they will be, and they'll do it and let you know. They'll do it to stitch you up because they're not happy in some way. So you can't worry about that. And if you haven't gone out of your way to offend, there's nothing you can do. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know. You know, I've talked about this. Whatever you talk about, if you went out and they said, hands up, who's had this terrible thing happen to them, and they put their hands up, you went, anyway, I'm going to do it, then that's something. But you don't know those people. You don't know what they've gone through. It's mad to try and second guess. Everyone's gone through something. So there wouldn't be. If you had to do a comedy show when no one could be offended, you couldn't do it. So just don't worry about it. And also, just because they're offended doesn't mean they're right. Some people are offended by equality. Do you know what I mean? Some people are offended because they don't want equality. What can you do? There's no right and wrong to offence. It's a personal feeling. So you can't worry about it. Mick, do you think with your stand-up that you've been influenced by comedy we grew up with? Not the content, but the delivery. What, like... I think I know what you mean. You mean... yeah, I think I know what you mean. That sort of stand-up swagger, put down... I've been influenced by those guys like Groucho Marx, if that's what you mean. I think I think I have. I've always liked that sarcastic delivery. So yeah, you can't help it. You can't help being influenced, and then you make it your own. And it's there's never one influence. If you're influenced by one person, that's like a tribute. You're influenced by 50, so you make a new blend. But I do like that sort of sarcastic, ironic. You know, those guys that show that it's not best to be the cleverest bloke in the room, where they go out there with swagger, but they're the butt of the joke. I've always liked that sort of thing, yeah. Deborah, what has been your biggest professional disappointment? You have had many successful ventures, but which one did you think you would have done? You think you could have done much better? Well, obviously my pop career, if you mean that ever, that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing, because I gave up. That's why it's a big thing. I just gave up. And the big mistake I made, I wanted to be a pop star. I was 18 or 19. I should have wanted to be a musician. So when I came to this, I wanted to be a writer director, not just a celebrity or an actor or whatever. Within the realm of, since I've been doing this, I don't know, you always want to do it better. I did the Golden Globes again because I wanted to improve on it. Also, you're only fail if you give up. If you keep trying, what you call failures, they're learning processes, aren't they? So first time someone has a go at golf, they're rubbish. And when they get good, you wouldn't hold it against them. You would go, yeah, but the first time you played, you were rubbish. You go, yeah, that's why I tried harder and now I'm good. So to keep trying and getting better, that's not it's mad to look back and go, oh, I failed for so long. You didn't fail, you hadn't finished yet. You just hadn't finished yet. You only fail if you just give up. But things are, I probably look, my early stand-up, I think I always put it, I wrote too much as opposed to do the stagecraft, and it was sort of there, and then I committed it to DVD too quickly. I wish I'd have, like my first one, Animals, I sort of wrote that, I did a couple of warm-ups, I think I did about 10 shows, and I recorded the DVD. Now, it's fine, but it would have been... I've done 50 warm-ups already for Armageddon. Armageddon's already better than animals, you know what I mean? But then there's something charming about... There's something charming about animals. My first one that I wasn't quite a stand-up, but it was funny ideas. So I never look back. I'd never go back and go, I'm going to re-record animals to make it better. It's a document. It's like a document of where I am now. I think that answers your question. Ollie Afterlife, you've just come up with the best but also potentially lethal joke. People convulsing and dying from laughing. You mean literally? Okay. It's the best joke of all time. Do you tell it? So, if I know that this joke is a murder weapon. So I've got this joke. Anyone I tell it to, they laugh so much that they die. This is terrible. I mean, the answer should be no, of course not. But it's tempting, isn't it? Just people you don't like. Here, mate. Sorry, we've had our differences, but they tell them the joke. It wouldn't be murder, would it? Because telling someone dying of a joke, that's not against the law, is it? If you tell a joke and it kills someone, that's not against the law. Also, it's like a gift, isn't it? I've given them the best death, apart from dying in their sleep, when they could be dreaming about having their legs pulled off by a giant monster. Dying laughing, that's a pretty good way to go, isn't it? If I knew that my jokes literally cause someone to die, I wouldn't tell them. No, I don't think so. Oh, imagine that. What a trauma that would be. You come up with the great... That's everyone's dream, to come up with the greatest joke. Every comedian's dream. Come up with the greatest joke ever. And then someone says, you can't tell it, mate. Why? Because it's so good it kills people. I go, for fuck's sake. Really? Can I tone it down a little bit? So it just puts them in a coma for a week. I go, I'd rather you didn't. Oh, fuck's sake. Okay. Thing is, I find my stuff funny, so wouldn't I, as soon as I thought that joke, wouldn't I die? And it wouldn't be a problem, would it? Stupid question. Mum and Sherlock. A life well lived is the best revenge, I once heard you quote. Yeah. What would your best advice be to get there? When it's hard to see the funny side of certain things and to focus on what's essential instead of looking back in anger. Just smile, question mark. Well, that's a good one. Just smile. I mean, clinically. So when you're happy, you smile. But the reverse is also true. They've done clinical tests where they made people smile and it cheered them up because your face sends signals to your brain and it releases the same sort of result. So you can, I mean, if you know, not if you're really clinically depressed, you can't just snap out of it. But a lot of those motivational speeches start with, you know, you can decide to be happy that day. Again, outside terrible trauma and being, you know, clinically depressed, everything being equal, you can sort of try and put yourself in a good mood, be positive. A lot of them say the same things, to be grateful, to go, right, what's good about today, what can I look forward to? Meditation puts you in a good mood, it clears your mind and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, be positive, be nice. That's really good. That's really, people, if you do a good deed, you feel good all day. Well, I do. If I a scruffling a dog, like, cheers me up. So yeah, a positive, healthy attitude, being grateful, being kind, and scruffling a dog. Maybe the odd beer. You do the math. Glenn Martin, my question, if you get a chance. Would you ever play a dark role in a movie or drama? Say a serial killer? Yeah, but I don't know. It'd have to be something. I don't know. I don't just want to be someone who just goes around murdering people. I know you don't actually murder people in a play. I know that. Mr. Rose, you've got the wrong end of the stick. You actually killed one of the cast. I thought you might have. No. It's all fake. It's all fake. You don't actually kill people. I'd want something more. I don't know. Like a vampire would be good, because that's sort of. I can do that. That'd be good. Just be a normal bloke. You know what I mean? If someone winds you up, they go, you go to the post office, go, hello, Mr. Rose, hello. Go, oh, sorry, this is closed. Sorry, I'm going to lunch. Wait, I just need to. No. That would be good, wouldn't it? Just a vampire that doesn't like bad service. Yeah, I don't need the blood. Anything that annoys me, I just go, and they, okay, what do you need? I need the change. Yeah. I wouldn't. It's not an affliction, isn't it? Being a vampire. People are scared about. I don't get bitten and become a vampire. And then once you've gone through that, you're set up for death. Not set up for life. Set up for death, but for eternity. I know in my life I'd be a vampire and I'd feel guilty. I'd be vegan. Like a fucking idiot. They go, you fucking idiot. Oh, I know. What are you going to do? Just going to go and just creep in when they're asleep and steal their lentils. That's the worst vampire. Well, that's how I feel. I'm sensitive. You're a fucking idiot. I know. But I'm sorry, I don't agree with the bite in the neck. Charlie the cat. If we throw a party when you die, what is the one song you'd want us to play? You can't choose Bowie or say you don't care since you'll be dead. That's a good one, isn't it? That's a good one. You'd want something that would put them in floods of tears, wouldn't you? What would that be? I haven't thought about that. I haven't thought about it. That's a really difficult one. Because a song's often got just one message, isn't it? Oh. I have to come back to that. I'll think about that. If you had the attention of the whole world for 15 seconds, what would you do or say? These are getting hard, these questions. So, does it make a difference? Like, can I choose? I assume you mean like, and so I'd have a good result. Like, if you could tell 7 billion people one thing, even if there was not a lot of take-up, it would still be an important message. So things like, go vegan to save the planet, because the deforestation and the fact that we cause so much harm to the environment by breeding cattle to feed a few, it takes like 10 times the amount of water, that sort of thing. And that'd be a good one, wouldn't it? 15 seconds. I could just say, watch Afterlife on Netflix. So it would either be a message to save the planet for future generations, or watch Afterlife. on Netflix. I haven't decided which yet, but again, let me think about it. Claire, what was the moment that made you become an activist for animals? Well, there wasn't really a moment. My earliest memory is that I loved animals and couldn't stand animal cruelty. I was born, I acquired pets. They were there first. I remember I was little, I had a cat called Smokey that was there before me, and a dog called Betsy that was there before me. So I just felt that I've always thought that they've got as much right to be on this planet as me. So there was no moment. But then, you know, you always do stuff for animals, and I've always, I suppose when you become famous, you become a voice for them. That was one question I got when I was famous. They'd say, oh, when did you start the animal activism? I go, well, I've always been that. It's just that more people hear me now. And like when I win an award, like a humanitarian award, I always say, there are people that actually go there. There are people that stand outside Tesco's all day with a tin. I just tweet or talk about it. They're the foot soldiers. So the cancer, as long as I can remember, but just more people hear about it now, because of, you know, the upshot of what I do is fame, I guess. Good question there. Leopold and Loveday. Do you think it is more beneficial to be able to roar like a lion or purr like a house cat? Roar like a lion. I love the cat purring. A happy cat makes me happy. So I'm saying that sort of thing is infectious, isn't it? A happy dog makes me happy. If I see a dog, I smile. And a happy cat is lovely. But personally, I'd better roar like a lion, wouldn't it? Be like the vampire thing. Like, if someone's winding you up and you just go, fuck me. Be good, wouldn't it? That would be good. But I think, you know what I mean? No one would mess with you if you could roar like a lion. Fuck me, he's mental. And he's loud. He's loud. Rachel, would you like to have wheels for feet? I mean, amongst the other stuff we've talked about, that isn't so mental, is it really? I've been a flying rhino within the last 20 minutes. So wheels for feet. I wouldn't mind if I couldn't have feet. Wheels would be good, but given the choice, I'd keep everything real at the moment. One day, that'd be good. Although wheels for feet, you know, that'd be fine. But then when I've got a bad back, I'd need a wheel on each foot and a wheel coming out, so I could be sitting down, just going along. So, wheels for feet. Now I'm talking. Or the back of my neck, so I just lay down. Like that. I've got wheels and that, I'm just going along like that. What a load of bollocks this is. Well, we've run out of time. Last one, Susie. Oh, can I sing the Derek Pudding song? When Derek makes up a song. Everybody here loves having pudding. We has it every day at 6 o'clock. Sometimes it is jelly, what is cold. Sometimes it is crumble, what is hot. Finale. Just brought the house down with that one. Right, good. Have a lovely week. Be kind to animals. Put out bowls of water outside your house for dogs. Be careful with dogs. Don't leave a dog in a car, obviously. Anyone who sees that, honestly, just smash the window. Yeah. Cheers. Tatty bye, everyone. Tatty bye.
First of all, I had so much fun. It's a blessing to be able to know him. And Michael's like a king. He was like a modern day king, and we did a lot of fun stuff. I used to just, I couldn't wait to hang out with him when he had a chance, when we had the chance to. But we would do stuff like go to the movies, and Michael was so famous he had to disguise himself. And we would come downstairs. I'd be like, "Where's Michael?" Michael would be covered up like, "I'm over here, Chris. I'm here." I said, "Michael, that's you?" "Yeah, Chris." I thought we was going to the movies. You're not even dressed. "I am dressed, Chris." "I just can't go in the movies. We got to disguise it a little bit." I said, "Okay." So we go in the movies, and I'm thinking, I'm trying to be secret too. I'm hiding myself. Then Michael laughing louder than anybody. Everybody know Michael's laughing.
Right.
He's like, hee, hee, hee. I was like, "Michael, shut up. They're going to find you in here. It's going to be a riot."
Have you ever worn disguise in public so you were not recognised? I've thought about it. In fact, I quite like the idea of it, right? Having to wear a mask and sunglasses. I always wear sunglasses anyway, and a baseball cap, right? I thought the mask would be amazing. I'll be anonymous. I walk down the street and people are going, "Hi, Ricky." So, I don't know, is my nose a giveaway? Is that big, blobby, calm? I know the mask would have been there, wouldn't it? I had sunglasses on. They must know. Oh, there's a bloke here who's walking like a chimp. As Ricky. How is it? He's got chimp ability. I'm trying to get chimp ability. To walk to be cheeky, and laugh like a chimp, out and walk, have short legs. He's got chimp ability. Oh dear.
We did one time. We went to a mall. We was out. Michael wanted to go to the record store or something, and he forgot he was famous. He was like, "I gotta go to the mall. Go to the mall." And we finally said, "Michael, you can't go in the mall, man. You forgot who you are." He said, "Well, let's go." And only thing was in the car was a Spider-Man mask. So Michael said, "I'll put this on. We'll go in and we get." I said, "Michael, you can't do that. Spider-Man ain't gonna just be walking through the mall. Ain't nobody. They gonna know it's you, Michael." He's like, "No, he won't. Chris, it'll work. It'll work." We go in the mall, and he was getting away with it until people figured it out because I was with him, and he was like, "Chris, is that Michael Jackson in that Spider-Man mask?" "No, that's Spider-Man. That's Michael Jackson." All of a sudden, the mall went crazy, and they had to scoot us out. You should have seen it.
Oh, my God.
It was great. We had a lot of fun, though. He was great.
The only time I've thought about being in disguise, I think, is probably at something like a concert where it's a lot of public and there's drinking and you've got to be in the... See, I don't worry about it at the theatre because you can get a box or away from... In a restaurant, people aren't bothered you. Walking around, people don't bother you. But at an Iggy Pop concert, when you're in the crowd, that's when I wish big beard. Or just someone else. Just Michael Jackson mask. People going, short fat Michael Jackson at this concert. But I've never done it, no. But I also think if that people recognise you as a guy, they go, "How fucking mental is that? That's Ricky Gervais in a disguise. What? Why is he undercover? Why is he?" But yeah, sometimes you walk into a shop to buy pants and you wish, I wish I'd have to have a conversation about pants. But it's no big deal. Do you fancy going into politics? No. It would be a thankless task. It would be... No. I don't know... Oh, God. I'd go mental. See, I don't have to watch what I say. Because I'm a comedian. And no one should take me seriously. And I'm not in charge of people's lives. If I was a politician... It's the politics bit of it I don't like. If I said, "What do you think?" and you could do that, then it'd be fine. But it's the not being able to say the truth sometimes for an easier life or, humanitarian things versus economics. And there'd just be no question for me. Well, like, no, I'll do what's right on principle and I'll do the humanitarian. I don't give a fuck about what happens to billionaires, but that's no good. That's no good for politics. So no, I'd be shit. I'd hate it, I'd be shit. There you go. That's two great reasons not to do a job. You hate it and you're shit at it. So no.
You'd have to be here, really, to understand the sense of anger, fury actually, that has swept the United Kingdom in just 4 months of so-called Labour government under the plank of wood that is Sir Keir Starmer, unfeeling, unthinking, clunky, completely incapable of thinking or speaking on his feet. A man who has to read every line. Whoever hired this guy as a Queen's Counsel, now King's Counsel? Who would want to pay good money for him to represent them in court? But it's not just his personal failings and shortcomings that is the cause of the most remarkable petition ever launched in the history of the British Isles. A big claim. I'm going to back it up right at this moment at 7:03 on the evening of Sunday. That is to say, just 26 hours after the petition was launched, 1,358,000 people have signed demanding fresh elections in Britain. Some fools complain about the provenance of the petition. They don't like the fact that Nigel Farage and the Reform Party are heavily prominent in it. Or the retired police officer Norman Brennan, who we asked to come on the show tonight, but he required payment, and so we had to decline. But that doesn't mean we're not right behind the petition. We absolutely are. Who cares who started the petition? It has captured the zeitgeist. No petition ever has garnered that number of signatures on a petition, and it is growing tens of thousands per hour. It's going to reach millions of signatories, and that is because of the rank betrayal that Keir Starmer is already guilty of just 4 months into his premiership. The one that rankles most with me, and about which you've heard me speak many times, is the theft of the cold weather payment allowance paid to millions of British pensioners to help them through a bitterly cold winter. It's already unprecedentedly cold here in this global warming Britain. It is almost as bad as the weather can be here in the United Kingdom. Storms, snow, -8, -10, -12 degrees in the country, and pensioners having to struggle through deciding whether they eat or whether they heat. And no matter how much they heat, given that energy bills are 4 times what they were just 2.5 years ago, they're unlikely to be able to heat their homes sufficiently. I am not short of my electricity bill, but I'm going around shutting doors, making sure no drafts are letting the heating out. Imagine if you were a poor old age pensioner in Britain. And what makes it much worse is that Starmer knew that he was going to do this before a single vote was cast. He did not even properly study what the impact of this measure would be. And worse still, he did it for Zelensky. Don't take my word for it. Look back at the chronology. The very next day after Starmer stole the coal from Britain's old age pensioners, his foreign secretary, Idi Amin Dada, David Lammy, was in Kiev, promising 3 times the amount saved by stealing from the pensioners in perpetuity every year. 3 billion every year forever. is what Keir Starmer has promised Zelensky. The ancient and peculiar hatred of the British towards the Russian people is a subject I'll come back to later in this monologue. But there are many other betrayals of which Starmer is guilty, and he is completely without the artifice to defend himself. He cannot find the words. He cannot find the empathy. He's launched a new battle today in the Mail on Sunday against Britain's benefit culture. But he is the recipient of the greatest amount of beneficence from private donors of any British politician in history. Just get your head round that. This man is wearing glasses, costing thousands of pounds, paid for by a private donor and not declared as they should have been. When you see him in a suit, I know he doesn't cut much of a dash, but somebody paid £12,000 for that suit, and he didn't declare that either. He has taken more freebies than any British politician in recorded history. This man who wants to make war on the benefit culture is the biggest beneficiary of them all. And we got a glimpse in the week of who might be paying in the end. You know, I predicted when he betrayed Britain's farmers at the budget by introducing a tax on inheritance of small family farms, that again he must have known he was going to do, but didn't mention it during the election campaign. I knew what he was up to. And 4 days later, he was sat in number 10 Downing Street with BlackRock, who will be buying the farmlands from the bankrupted farming families that have been ruined as a result of his treachery. Huge numbers of farmers and their well-wishers, of which I am one, were in central London, firing the first shot in what is going to be a long, bruising, damaging battle for the government if they go forward with their efforts to destroy farming in Britain as we have known it for centuries. He was right behind a suicide bill. They're not even hiding it anymore. Old grannies and grandmas, if they're cold, if they can't heat their house in the winter, well, we have a solution, said the government. We'll put you in a capsule, give you a glass of sherry and a jab on your upper arm, and you'll slowly slip away. This suicide death cult that is Labour is not content with killing people in the Middle East, killing people in the Ukraine, killing people in the Yemen. They're killing our own pensioners. They're killing our own chronically sick. Rather than investing in care at the end of life, they would prefer to persuade you that you've become a burden on your family and on society and on the taxpayer, and it would be a jolly good thing if you would shuffle off quietly into this good night. He has backed a genocide in Gaza, an actual genocide. Don't take my word for it. Take the word of the world's highest court, the International Criminal Court. Take the word of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, which this very week issued arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant, the former defense minister, sacked by Netanyahu just the other week.
Brilliant. Really, really smart. There's some smart people on the internet. There's some fucking morons as well. But such is life.
Do we agree, Prime Minister, that nobody should be left feeling, as Cat Smith has just described, that they would be better off dying between now and next April?
No, of course, but governments have to bring about sensible reform.
I think Starmer's one of the worst prime ministers we've ever had, and he's only been with us 81 days. But look what he's done in those 81 days. He's allowed the Chancellor to go ahead with a scheme where 4,000 pensioners could freeze to death this winter, and those are Labour figures, by the way, not Tory figures, OK. He's introduced a raft of policies like energy, which could make us dependent on overseas energy ad infinitum, so dictators around the world will control what we have in this country. Never mind the sleaze. I mean, goodness gracious, he stood up in the Commons once, looked across the box at Boris Johnson and said, sleaze, sleaze, sleaze. There's never been a sleazier Prime Minister. Never been a sleazier Prime Minister.
Then Keir Starmer.
Never.
So what makes you call him sleazy? Sleazy's an interesting word for you to use.
Well, if you're walking around in other people's suits to try and improve your image, I saw one...
Well, it's his suit. It's just paid for by somebody else.
I reckon he was a useless lawyer, a boring, useless public sector lawyer. Boring, useless public sector lawyer.
A lot of public interest cases, and then he served
boring,
Ireland, then he was director of public prosecution. Where he changed the approach, so they started prosecuting grooming gangs.
Adenoidal boys, incapable of thinking on his feet.
He is actually. I think in there is a decent man, quite amused,
really,
wry sense of humour.
I don't think Lou Haig thinks so. The Transport Secretary sacked. I don't think Angie Rayner, the former Secretary Prime Minister, thinks he's decent. I think they think he's treacherous, disloyal, doesn't believe in anything, doesn't believe in anybody, throws people under a bus because he's useful.
Do you think society could survive if everyone was kind, generous and thoughtful, or do we need ruthless bastards to drive industry and make the difficult decisions? I don't know. I don't think you have to not be kind and generous and thoughtful to make difficult decisions, do you? You know, it's kind to decide to have your pet put down. That's kind. It's a terrible decision, but it's kind. It's a kind decision. So I don't think those two are in conflict. But I know exactly what you mean. I think naturally we probably are kind and generous and nurturing, but we developed our intelligence was sort of relied a bit on violence because we didn't have the tools, did we, to defend ourselves. So we had to come up with cunning, evil fucking ways to catch stuff and eat it. So, but I think naturally we probably are generous and nurturing too, you know. We had to be really kind and generous and nurturing because we didn't have the tools, and we had to look after our young in a scary place. But I mean, I don't know about politics. I think politicians have proved that it's nothing to do with doing what's right for most people now. Even if they start off going into it with good intentions, all the compromises, all the worries about trying to please everyone, they soon start, you know, not doing a great job. And now a lot of them have proved that they're blatant. They're in it for themselves. So I don't know. I think the utopia you're talking about probably is possible, but yeah, I think there's always a few bad eggs, isn't there? Genius, Rick. What do you think about the world? There's always a few bad eggs, isn't there? Brilliant.
Do we agree, Prime Minister, that nobody should be left feeling, as Cat Smith has just described, that they would be better off dying between now and next April?
No, of course, but governments have to bring about sensible reform and take
sensible
measures
reform, absolutely.
But things like anti-forestalling clause, they are not unique to this situation. But on a human level, the answer to your question is, of course, not.
But last year, you told me that this was a policy that was just aimed at revenue raising, that it wasn't targeted at anybody in particular. We've now seen the anti-forestalling clause, and we know from Treasury's own figures that 75% of the £500 million that is expected to be raised from this will come from farmers who die over the age of 75. So, is it not the case that actually this is a targeted measure, and it is targeted at, and it will affect those who are elderly, suffering from terminal illnesses over 75, and it doesn't matter if it's one farmer or 1,000 farmers. Surely you cannot be comfortable with that.
Let me just address the point that it's not targeted. It's not targeted at individuals.
Well, it was what you said last year.
It's not targeted, as I said last year. It's an economic reform which we took in the budget before last. Not targeted. It is to adjust the rate at which inheritance tax is, the fact that it's paid, the rate at which it's paid, and the period over which it is paid. But it's not targeted against individuals. I'm not arguing with you that there are therefore going to be individuals affected, as there are with any change in any tax regime. But there's a difference between changing the tax regime and targeting a group of individuals. This is about changing the tax regime.
The anti-forestalling clause that we've spoken about traps farmers into the new rules. It doesn't allow them the same opportunities that other taxpayers will have to use tax planning to manage their affairs in a sensible way that will allow the succession of family farms in this country.
That doesn't make it targeted. It is a necessary consequence of the decisions that we've taken. But I can assure you, as you would expect, the President of the NFU has raised this issue with me on more than one occasion.
Not just the President of the NFU.
Well, I appreciate that.
You've heard it from Cat Smith, you've heard it from my Select Committee, you've heard it from the Welsh Affairs Select Committee, you've heard it from the Northern Ireland Affairs Committee. These are all select committees, incidentally, that have majorities from the Labour Party, and they have all produced unanimous reports calling for this to be paused and rethought. You don't have to listen to me. You don't even have to listen to the farmers out there. You don't have to listen to the President of the NFU. But why do you not listen to your own party colleagues?
I do listen to party colleagues all the time.
And then do what you're going to do anyway.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carmichael.
The thing, I mean, they allowed him to evade questions like he does in Prime Minister's questions. Because what's interesting is, at the liaison committee, he admitted that jury trials won't actually help to solve the backlog. So he's ditching 800 years of our judiciary system and our freedoms just for, nothing. And he's also admitted that he knows of people who are terminally ill who may end up taking their life before the farm taxes actually come into place. So again, that wasn't in the manifesto, and they should be grilling at him about it, because it's broken promises that he wasn't actually promised in the manifesto, that he has no mandate to actually implement. And again, with the illegal migration, Labour MPs, they celebrated 28 days of no boats coming in prematurely, because after that we had 700 come in, and that's taken us over 40,000 legal migrants that came into the UK. So again, it's like we're having to rely on bad weather to keep us safe at border control. So where is our tax money actually going? Because it's appalling.
And Chris Rose, when you look at the makeup of the examiners today, 8 out of 12 from the Labour Party, 3 from the Conservatives, only 1 Liberal Democrat, and of course nobody from Reform UK. Does it sort of cast a sort of shadow of doubt over the entire point of these things? I mean, it's like 8 of your mates, giving you an end-of-year review. I mean, why bother?
That's the thing. I mean, we know that he's going to go soft with them. Keir Starmer doesn't like scrutiny. He even left the liaison committee early as well, because when he's held up to scrutiny, he doesn't like it at all. He doesn't like his pre-prepared questions taking another route. He can't think quick on his feet. I mean, Kenny Badenoch is actually running rings around him at Prime Minister's questions now as well. Even with journalists who used to support him, during the election last year. And now that they're scrutinising him more, you can see the anger and his short temper coming out of him a bit. So he doesn't like it. So that's why they've picked, easy questions from, 8 of his mates instead of an actual grilling that he fully deserved. Looking at his popularity ratings, he really needs to be grilled, particularly by even his own MPs, because things aren't looking well for them at all. According to the polling, they're currently in 3rd place, 4th place, pushing down. And as you heard, as read, Reform now have more party members than Labour as well, because they've all drifted off to Green Party, whatever SAC is offering them. And, things aren't looking well. So I don't know why he doesn't want more scrutiny, because after the next local elections in May, I think they may move to actually get rid of him as leader, and certainly the Chancellor as well. So going ahead in easy mode is just bringing them, it's just delusional.
Earlier today, we've seen somewhere around 50 inmates released as part of the new Labour government's plan to free up prison space.
It's cases like this the government wants to see sped up. To do so, a package of reforms, including a major shift away from jury trials to try and clear a backlog of nearly 80,000 cases.
We now face an emergency in the courts, and we must act. As Lord Chancellor, my responsibility is to ground reform in the rule of law and the right to a fair trial.
Last month, the notorious Sidney Cook was blasted into space to spend the rest of his life aboard a one-man prison vessel, posing no further threat to children on Earth. But it was revealed that an 8-year-old boy was also placed on board by mistake and is now trapped alone in space with the monster. A spokesman said, "This is the one thing we didn't want to happen."
All these changes come as the Justice Secretary admits another 12 prisoners have been mistakenly released in the last 3 weeks.
What should be the goal of humanity? Well, there's no goal, is there really? We each live our lives. The goal of each individual, I suppose, is to be as happy as you can be without hurting anyone else, without infringing on other people's rights. There's probably a list of things that make each person happy. Mine is dogs, wine, this, talking absolute shit for a living, creating. What else? All the usual things, friends and family and all that. Work, learning. People always forget that. I always forget it, but it's great just finding stuff out. So anyway, everyone has a list of things that makes them happy, and you just got to do that all your life, and then die, and probably leave the world in as good a state as you found it if you can. That's just common courtesy, isn't it? If you borrowed someone's caravan for the weekend and threw up everywhere, pissed on the carpet, shut the bed, you'd clean up, wouldn't you? Saturday morning. Just common courtesy. Little tip there.
As court cases are sped up, that could shift pressure onto a prison system already at breaking point.
Look, if I have to be honest with you, whoever thought of this idea, they must be totally out of their mind. Because if you release people in waves, you get crime in waves. It's as simple as that.
And you think that's going to happen then?
It's already happened. It's already happened once. They've already released early, and they've already got them people already back in jail. But if they want to help people, and start helping people, give them a bit of work when they get out or something. Yeah? Not just releasing people out the gate to get on with their life.
You're saying just the lack of support, just letting people go out on their own.
100%. This is the only time I've ever had help is today when I walked out and they give me a phone. That is the only help I've had in 20 years. They give me a phone.
Okay,
yeah?
all right.
One of the charities, Catch 22. So at least someone's trying to do something, you know?
What were you inside for?
ABH.
ABH, and how long are you in for?
1 year.
1 year, and you got released how early?
A month.
A month early. Okay. We're just talking off camera about, you know, obviously they've let you out because the prisons are overcrowded. What does it feel like inside HMP Brixton? Does it feel like it's overcrowded?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, and give me an example of how. How does it feel like it's overcrowded?
You're in a single cell and they've got double beds and that.
Uh-huh.
Too many people in the prison.
Uh-huh. Do you think this scheme that they've done to release people, do you think that's going to work? Do you think that's going to free up space inside the prisons?
No, because all they're going to do is put all the people from the riots in. It's going to be filled up again. And no one's getting any rehabilitation.
So it's not actually going to bring any of the sort of prison population down, or free up space, sorry.
They're just going to empty it out and then fill it up with new people.
Really?
And then they've got the backlog from COVID. So they've been, and plus most people reoffend, so they be straight back in.
The caseload is projected to reach 100,000 by 2028, and without fundamental change could keep rising, meaning justice will be denied to more victims and trust in the system will collapse. Mr. Speaker, to avoid that disaster, I will follow Sir Brian's bold blueprint for change. First, I will create new Swift courts within the Crown Court with a judge alone deciding verdicts in triable either way cases with a likely sentence of 3 years or less, as Sir Brian recommends. Sir Brian estimates that they will deliver justice at least 20% faster than jury trials. And whilst jury deliberations remain confidential, judges provide reasoning for their verdicts in open court. So this will hardwire transparency into our new approach.
Today there's no such thing as mental. Everyone's got an excuse. Everything's you know what I mean? It used to be he's mental. But now, no, he's not. So
I said to Parliament a few weeks ago, I released data at that point, and there had been 91 releases in error up to that point. There have been 12 since then. 2 are currently at large. That's new information that I'm sharing with you. I'm pleased that the trend is downwards because of some of the improvements that I put into the system, a new query unit between our courts and our prisons, digital technology to help to move the system forward. And of course, I've asked Dame Lynn Owens to conduct a review, and she'll be reporting in the spring, and then we will build on what she said.
Has your phone been stolen, or have you been caught in an online scam? Changes to the justice system could impact you. New court reforms announced today by the Justice Secretary could make it easier for you to get justice for things like theft and fraud. In an effort to reduce the nearly 80,000 case backlog faced by the Crown Courts, the Justice Secretary David Lammy has announced bold new court reforms.
When victims are left waiting for years, justice is effectively denied to them. And this is a betrayal of our legal heritage, and it's a betrayal of the victims themselves.
So what has changed? The first key change is that jury trials will be scrapped for defendants facing a sentence of 3 years or less. Secondly, magistrates' courts will be able to hand down longer sentences, from the current 12 months to potentially up to 2 years. Lastly, for crimes that carry a sentence of up to 3 years that a magistrate sends to the Crown, a jury will not decide. Instead, it'll be down to a single judge. So what will it mean for you? Well, it may result in swifter and quicker sentencing for those mid-level crimes. It will also mean less jury service, with juries only being used for serious indictable offences, such as murder and rape. Currently, the predicted caseload backlog could rise to around 100,000 in the next few years. The government hopes that these changes will see victims get justice quicker.
You wanted to divide them, you wanted to separate us. So we look divided.
we often see people pulled up online for an old tweet that contradicts their current position. And rather than celebrate that that person has learned something and has changed their opinion, it is used as a massive pile-on to cancel them. Exactly. How do you feel about that? And is there anything your 20-year-old self would have tweeted that you wouldn't agree with now? I'm sure. I can't think of anything. Although I'd probably be embarrassed by my 20-year-old self trying to be so right on, because that's what most 20-year-olds are. They're trying to be. So I'd probably cringe at getting it slightly wrong, if anything. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Don't forget that sort of is purely people saying Look how good I must be. If I'm bringing someone down, if I'm cancelling someone because the tiniest thing they did 10 years ago, think how perfect I must be. That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to get one-upmanship to make themselves look better. So, yeah, it's to be ignored. And you're exactly right. If there's no value in changing and saying sorry, don't bother then. It's ludicrous. You're exactly right. People, if you find something that people was 10 years ago and now they're not, you're right. That should be applauded because they've changed for the better. But it's just people on each other to make themselves look better. Best thing is just ignore it. Just ignore it. That's what these people, they want attention. They don't care what it is. It's like these people who go on any march to windows. They don't care about the cause. It's that 5% that brings all good ideas are eventually infiltrated and ruined by a minority. The trolls of the political world.
Man in Britain. All your lies didn't work. And the best thing is, we're unifying the people. Exactly what you wanted to stop. You wanted to divide them. You wanted to separate us. So we look divided. Come on. Back up, mate. Back up. Come on.
But most people are all right. If you looked at Twitter, if an alien looked at Twitter, they'd go, we're not going there. It's mental, right? But if any aliens are watching, it's not like that. Don't think the real world is like the maniacs, the 5% crazies each other over the minutiae of nothing. It's not like that. Most people are nice, normal people getting on with their lives, okay? If you're a big fat slug, I'm Zorgon, I go, come on lads, come down, we're all right. We might eat you. We eat everything, so we might eat you. But apart from that, we're all right.